Three, two, one, let's go. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode on the George Habib podcast. The episode today is going to be, I feel, a very relevant one in modern society and something that we all deal with. I'm going to be talking about basically gaining weight, the state of obesity today, and kind of how good it feels in the short term and crappy in the long term. But to help me with this conversation, I've invited a guest on who will tell us about his own journey through weight loss, how he overcame that, and I'm pretty sure he feels pretty great about it today. But before we get on to that, guys, if you haven't already done so, please like this episode, subscribe to the channel, share us on your social media because doing so really helps us grow. The more we grow, I guess the better we'll get for you guys and the more content we can bring towards you guys. Now, having said that, I introduce Chris Schnabel to the show.
Woo!
How's it going, Chris?
It's going good. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate coming on and being able to share my story.
Pleasure to have you. And just to give a little spiel to the audience about what you're about, I believe you are a videographer and social media manager focused in the world of sports.
Yep.
You run your own YouTube channel called Schnabel Studios. The link is down below in the description. I encourage everybody to follow and subscribe. And this is, I guess, a big thing. You have told me you had lost 200 pounds from 2019 to 2020. Is
Yes,
that true?
roughly. So I
Roughly.
started kind of into the end of 2019, and I actually got injured in the very beginning. I was doing baseball training because I was going to try to be a GA for the Gonzaga baseball team. So I need to lose some weight. I was like over 420
Mm.
pounds, 425, something like that. And I needed to lose some weight. So I was doing baseball training on top of working out. And like in the first couple of days of starting my workouts, I actually tore my ribs and I like slipped on something while I was doing a drill and it was pretty bad. So that was right in the beginning. I wasn't able to start again until June like 11th or something like that. And so that's June 11th, 2020, I should say. So that's really when it started to hit, was somewhere around mid-June. And yeah, I lost like the first 102 months, 204 months, something like that. And it sounds extremely unhealthy, and it may have been a little unhealthy, but I was extremely obese and I really needed to make a change. And I just kind of changed my living, and here I am today, about 225, 220 pounds, something like that. I don't know. I haven't stepped on a scale in a little bit, which is also a great feeling that I don't feel like I have to do that. But
Well, I haven't seen a picture of you before, but I can tell you look like quite a fit specimen right now.
I hope so. I play basketball every day. I run every day. I work out a lot. I eat a lot better. So I'd hope so. I'd hope I look better than I did then. I could send, if you want, I don't know how much you had this. I could send a picture. You could link it somewhere if you want. I don't care. You could see I was
Oh, for
much
sure.
bigger. Trust me. You
Before
could
and
just trust
after,
me
and
if you
I'll
want
add a
to.
link to some supplements down below, huh?
Yeah.
Like all
Yeah. I
those
got
ads
you.
you get online.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll never believe what the doctors hate him. That one.
Yeah,
That ad you always
100%.
see. You lost 200 pounds in 4 months. Yeah, it was quite a journey, but I'm glad to be here today, and it's great. If I feel great, I feel amazing, better than I ever have.
Pretty glad for you, bro. But I want to get into actually the background of this. Before you lost all that weight, when did you feel you were like either getting overweight or you kind of like what started it?
So I've always felt overweight because I've always been overweight. My whole life I spent overweight. Um, but a lot of people say like I was big, but I wasn't like severely obese like through college and stuff, but I always felt like I was. And then I really started to hit. I moved to Boston. I worked in Boston for a little bit, and towards the end of that, I was like I knew I was bad. Like I had a moment one time. I was sitting at the edge of my bed and there was a mirror there, and I just saw myself, and I'm like, wow, I've really gotten to a bad spot. Like this is like this isn't just obese. This is morbidly obese. Like this is, you can have a heart attack in the next couple of years obese. And I hated that. I've always been someone that loves sports. I played baseball my whole life. I love playing like football and everything. I've always loved that. And I've never been able to be athletic enough to really keep up with people to do it because I've just been overweight. And yeah, so I knew it then. So that's probably 2019 that I really saw that. And then I got accepted into Gonzaga and I talked to the baseball people there and they said I could be a GA. That's actually what I was going for at first. I know we talked about how I was a videographer, but that actually wasn't what I was going to grad school for a little bit. I was going to go to be a baseball coach. And I looked at myself and I'm like, no Division I baseball player will look at you doing a drill and say, yeah, I'll listen to that guy. The 430-pound guy. Yeah, let me listen to him. He knows what he's talking about. And that's when I got determined to do it. That's when I was like, I need to start losing some weight. So I
Yeah,
started
but
working out and
but
eating
to be
better.
fair, I watch some sports and like football coaches, baseball coaches, basketball
Yeah.
coaches. Those are some pretty heavy
Yeah.
guys. Like,
Yeah, I think there's a little difference though between being the grad assistant coach and
mm,
being the head coach. Usually the head coach has a very strong resume, so guys will tend to listen more. I mean, I played for I scratched the surface in the fall for baseball like in college and then I never really played again. Um in college, that is. I played like after I graduated and stuff, but nothing that would be to the level where a Division I player would look at me and say like, oh yeah, he's got the resume, he's got the looks, things like
mm,
that. Like, didn't have much of the resume. I definitely didn't have the looks. Something needed to change because I knew being the GA, I might be the one helping out with the drills, helping show the drills. And if I have problems bending over to get a ground ball, like what is that going to do for my career? So it
right.
decided like I had to make some sort of change. And I didn't think I'd make that significant of a change where 200 pounds, but I'm glad I did. I'm glad I ended up
Mm,
doing that. And I'm actually glad I changed back to the path I wanted to be on. I changed the path because COVID like got rid of the GAs. There was no more GA ship and I needed a job and video. They needed someone to take video. And that's how I got back into it when I was at Gonzaga. And I'm glad that happened.
mm. But what was the daily life like? Like what me, for example, like during my worst days, do you guys have Tim Hortons in your area?
I know what Tim Hortons is
Uh,
because I've been to Buffalo, New York, and there's some right there. I've been to Toronto, and there's a bunch there. So I
yeah,
do know what Tim
owned
Hortons
by
is.
Burger King these days. Yeah,
Yeah,
but like,
yeah.
so yeah, my bad days would just be like, the iced cappuccino.
I don't know the iced cappuccino,
Yeah.
but I can imagine being a Tim Hortons. It's filled with some sugar because just like Dunkin' and
Oh, there's some
Starbucks
ice
and
in there.
yeah, it's sugar with ice and a touch of water, and they call it a
Yeah.
cappuccino and sell it to you for $5.
So basically, it's yay big. Like
Okay.
you said, it's full of sugar. And what I would do is I would get a hazelnut shot in there. So that's just like extra sugar. I'd have those like, and this is when I was coming in from like Dubai. I used to live in Dubai, moved to Canada. And, you know, you really need to get used to the new land's food. Otherwise, you don't know you don't have to pace yourself. So I'd have
Mhm.
like 3 ice caps a day. I discovered Pop Tarts. I
They're
discovered
good.
those. Yeah, and do just all kind of sweets that's not really familiar to an Arab diet. And bro, I freaking ballooned. Like
Yeah.
I felt like shit. I looked like shit. I ate like shit. And yeah, that was my daily life.
So my worst, I would say, like I said, was Boston. So I never really like I definitely ate sugar and stuff like that. Obviously, I didn't eat well because I weighed 425 plus pounds. So clearly I didn't eat well, but I was never a big like over eater. I definitely overate. Like I was bigger, my stomach was bigger. Like the small portions just didn't work at the time for me. Like until I changed my mind on that. But I did not eat well. Like the stuff I wouldn't eat a ton of it, but the stuff I ate wouldn't be good. There was a point where my old roommate and I would like I'd work all day. I'd work like 5 different jobs and I would just pick up something from like 7-Eleven for dinner. And 7-Eleven makes the worst foods for you, by the way. And that's what I'd eat, because
That's
I
my
just didn't
university
feel like I
diet right
had the
there.
time to cook, and I didn't have the time to go to the grocery store, and the 7-Eleven was 5 steps down the street, which was extremely dangerous. But just like you, I was also addicted to sugar. I still to this day am addicted to sugar. I just have been able to manage it a little better. Some days are better than others. Like sometimes we go out and I'll indulge a little more than I should, and I make up for it the next day or the next couple days. Like I don't punish myself for wanting sugar, obviously, because
Mm.
it's an addiction and you got to do what you got to do. That's the worst part about sugar, is it's an addiction.
Yeah, you just get
Processed
that
sugar, I should
craving.
say. Yeah, you just crave it and you're like, I need something. But instead of doing, all right, I'm going to eat an entire bag of M&Ms, or I'm going to buy a big thing of gummy bears or something like that, I portion it into different ways, like putting a little bit of chocolate chips in yogurt, or putting a little honey in something, stuff like that. That's a little better for you. It's kind of direction I went, but I was very, very addicted to sugar. I still am. I think sugar is one of the top worst drugs in the world, because it really is an addiction. And that's why there's so much obesity. I think it's just because everything has sugar in it. You crave sugar, you need sugar, and managing sugar after you've already had some is extremely, extremely, extremely
Yeah,
tough.
but I feel like that's on purpose, the sugar and everything. Because, like, if you read a label of anything, the French fries at McDonald's, boom, sugar, ketchup,
Yeah.
boom, sugar. Like, just the most random stuff to have sugar in it. Like, even like if you get like, what's it called? What's the green stuff you put on hot dogs? Garnish?
Um, the green stuff you put on. No,
It's like chopped
you're
up
talking
pickles.
not sauerkraut, right? Or is it
No, no,
sauerkraut?
garnish.
Sure. I know what you're talking about. I don't partake in it myself. I do know what you're
Yeah,
talking about though.
but like, like even like sauerkraut sugar, and like they don't really need sugar, but I feel like sugar is purposely put in them so
Yeah,
people just crave them.
it's addicting. It's literally like putting drugs in your food so
Mm.
people come back and buy more. That's really what it is. And it's so hard to kick, to the point where, like, we're talking about how I lost 200 pounds for changing my diet, and I still need sugar in it. Or the problem is I can't cut it out cold turkey, because if I cut it out cold turkey, I'll just
Of
go and
course.
buy a ton. So you got to have it here and there a little bit. Get the healthier stuff, which also sucks, because anything healthy is expensive, which is ridiculous. Like, healthier options are always $5 more than the sugar brand blank. Like it'll be $1, and then the healthy version of that is $8. But
Mm.
it's just a sacrifice you have to make if you really want to change. And that
But that's
was,
actually a very Western country phenomenon.
yeah.
Because, like it's because where I'm from, Middle East, well, it's actually changing. It's becoming more like the West. But like places like Asia and Africa, if you want something sweet, that's the expensive thing. If you want your everyday vegetables, fruits, maybe some basic meats, that's cheap.
Yeah,
In the
as it should
States and
be.
Canada, especially, I feel like so yeah, like in this country, I'm in Canada, I'm based in Canada.
Mhm.
If you're fat, you're poor, you're more poor in the poor end of the scale. Whereas if
Yeah.
you're fit and healthy, you're more of a wealthier segment of society. Because, like you said, organic food is more expensive. But if you want to
Mhm.
go grab like a candy bar chock full of like calories, that's so cheap.
Yeah,
But then,
and
like
it's
again, back in East Asia, Africa, South America, even if you're fat, you're rich.
yeah. That's very true. Like, if you think about it, and it's not really if you're fat, you're poor. It's if you're poor, you become bigger, because you you can't afford to do things, especially like, say you're a family that doesn't have a lot of money, you have like 3 kids, like you can go get a box of cereal, a giant box of cereal for 2.99 or blank, and it's like, well, I have to feed these kids, I have to feed the whole family, like I have to do this. And it's just not it's completely backwards, which a lot of
Yeah,
things are, but it's completely backwards the way it works. And it's just because they get the biggest companies in the food industry, they're all the companies that are pretty terrible for you. So
yeah, Nestle, Monsanto, all those
yeah.
big ones. But to bring it all back to your story, so basically, it was convenient just to eat junk, and it was
Yeah,
just always there,
it's
and
always there. It's, again, cheaper. I didn't really have a lot of money at the time, even though that's not really the best excuse, because I could have just gone to the grocery store. But yeah, it was cheaper option. It was convenient. I did it forever. So it's not like I wasn't one of those people that came from like being skinny and then got really big and then got back to skinny. Like, I'm telling you, my entire life I was overweight. So like the fact
Yeah.
to lose the weight in the first place, that was the first time. I'm actually at this point in my life, I fit into clothes that I wore freshman year of high school better now than I did as a freshman in high school.
Jeez.
Like I wore a shirt that I had in 8th grade and it fits me just as well, if not better. And like I said, the freshman sophomore year, I have shirts. I'm wearing a shirt right now, actually. It's my baseball shirt from high school, and it's big on me.
What is
And
that? The
this was
Met?
high school. Like, no. We were Monticello. So it says
Oh.
Monticello baseball
By the
with
way,
our
I don't know who the
logo.
Mets are. I just hear it in movies time to time.
The Mets are a New York
Yeah.
baseball professional team. I don't play for them, although I
Like
wish
you
I
ask me
did
my favorite
sometimes.
baseball team, I'm just gonna say like the Bears from that movie,
See,
that kids
if you
movie.
said football, you'd be right. The Bears are Chicago Bears, Chicago Cubs, which
Ah,
is
yeah,
it's just
fair enough.
basically a bear. But
When you ask me what's my favorite hockey team, I'll just be like the Anaheim Ducks.
there you go, because of
You know
Disney.
that one?
Yeah, I know that one. I know a good amount of sports, decent amount of sports. Oh, you got Jersey right there, huh?
Yeah, I got that jersey because I live in Montreal. You know how like they love the Habs and stuff, or like on the other end you got the
Yeah,
Maple Leafs. Whenever
yeah.
hockey season comes on, I just want to
Canucks.
wear that Anaheim Ducks jersey. And then they'll be like, "What's that team?" I'm gonna be like, "It's my favorite team, bro. You haven't seen the documentary about the Mighty Ducks?
Yeah,
Just
the
just
documentary.
go and wear a fictitious sport team."
Well, the Anaheim Ducks exist.
They do? Shit.
Yeah, they're an NHL team.
Oh
The
well.
Mighty Ducks was the movie, though.
Well, the Mighty Ducks then, like Kevin Conway,
Yeah,
fictitious.
yeah. No, I knew what you were talking about. I knew exactly
Okay.
what you were talking about. But I'm helping you out now because they actually are a team. So you could say I'm an Anaheim
Ah,
Ducks
crap.
fan.
I thought I was trolling. Jeez. But
The
yeah,
whole
so
time.
one thing I want to ask you about, because I had, like I said, I was like pretty overweight kid, pre-diabetic. Some of my youngest memories when I was like 7, no, not 9, actually 9 or 10, was my aunt just measuring my blood pressure every day. You know that little squeezy machine around
Yeah.
your arm. So like, but like again, like I fluctuated. But I wanted to ask, what you said you looked in a mirror and that's when you realize it's gone too far or something. But did you ever have like any other low moments? And just to give one of my own, I remember university, and this was second year. You know the freshman 50, like how you gain
Yeah.
like 50 pounds because of the cafeteria. I remember I came home drunk from a party. I was in the elevator going up to my dorm floor, and then I bent over to pick up, I forgot if it was a wallet or my phone, and
Yeah.
my jeans split. Like jeans, like these were like Levi jeans, supposedly the best material in the world. They tore in half, man. And like I wasn't alone.
Hmm.
I had people around me saying like just me being so fat that my jeans gave up on me. They committed suicide. And I was drunk, but I was so fucking embarrassed.
Yeah.
And
I
I was
bet.
just like, bro, what low is this? And I even had an ex tell me later, like after like when she first met me, I was heavy. And then later when I lost weight, I'm like, did you ever like see me as kind of fatty? And she's like, well, I didn't want to say anything, but when we were first like getting together, I thought you had too much poof on your stomach. Like, things that weren't said. Like my jeans
Yeah.
gave me the truth, but no one else did. What
Yeah.
was
And
your
that's
moment? Like where you were like, just, oh, screw this. I need to lose weight.
it's tough because like I always wanted to lose weight. Like I always wanted to lose weight. In college, I always would have spurts where I'd try before college and high school. After college, I always had those spurts where I would try to lose weight and I just never could. And it's because I didn't really have the discipline to do it. Like motivation, I say this every time I talk about this. Motivation is great. And I think getting motivated to do something's amazing. And I loved when I was losing the weight or I lost the weight or I finished the marathon or I did this, did that, had fastest smile, and I'd post it and someone would say like that inspired me to do this, that inspired me to do that. Like that motivated me to get up and do it. It always makes me smile. I love it. Like if you're hearing this and that's happened to you, if you know me and that's happened, like you can let me know and I love it. But motivation doesn't do jack at the end of the day. It's the
It's not
discipline
consistent.
to consistently do it, the discipline to get up and work out, the discipline to go for a run, the discipline to not eat the sugar, the discipline to I haven't had a sip of soda since 2018.
Mm.
Like not even a sip. Like I decided to stop drinking soda, and because soda is one of the worst things you can put in your body. And I don't want to come off like I'm a health coach or anything like that, but I'll tell you right now, I did a lot of research when I was losing weight, and you don't have to do much research to know not to drink soda, but it is actually one of the worst things you can put in your body, right up there with like alcohol. And like, I just had the discipline to continuously not do it to this point. Like, so motivation's great. And I really hope that, I hope people get motivated. If I can motivate you, that's amazing. Like, it's the same thing you'll hear from like, if you go for a personal trainer, like they'll try to motivate you, but they can't do anything about your discipline. And the same thing, hate to put it like this, but if you hear anything military, they don't teach you how to motivate you to go out there. They teach you the discipline to do things on a battlefield. Like discipline is really, if you want to get anything done, it's the discipline of being able to do things. So
Well, they're
not to go
training you
off
how
on
to
too
form
much of a rant.
habits.
Yes, exactly. That's how you form a habit. That's a great way to put it, is to have the discipline to continuously do it. They say it takes 30 days to create a habit. Well, if you don't get up and do it every day, then you're not going to do it. And you're not going to motivate yourself into 30 days. It's the discipline to get up and actually go for a run at 5 a.m. or lift weights after work, go play basketball every day. All things that I enjoy doing.
Yeah, because I feel like growing up, like every show, every like infomercial, they had like what they're called, the fad diets,
Yeah,
FAD.
fad diets. Yeah.
Like like everyone's looking for a
Atkins.
cheat code. Like, oh,
Yeah.
if you eat broccoli after every pudding, or if you just like that machine where it just shakes your body, basically giving you like a concussion, but apparently you lose weight. Like you're giving yourself shaken baby syndrome. That ribbon thing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah. I
That
know what you're
machine.
talking about. I don't know what it's called, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, like
You,
and like you.
there's a reason you don't see those in the gym, people.
I mean, I'm pretty sure a bunch of people like haven't survived using them. Shaken baby
Yeah.
syndrome as an adult. But like I just remember like early 2000s, even if you go like into the art to the for what it's called, like the records of like 90s, 80s, 70s, it was all about fad diets.
Yeah.
Like even what 1920, like eat a tapeworm. Like did you hear about that one where like women would
I
eat
mean, it probably
tapeworms?
worked, right?
Yeah,
Probably
maybe it
not
took a
great
little
for you,
too
but it
much
probably
off
worked if you
for
ate a
her.
tapeworm. You were definitely
Yeah,
losing a lot of that food you ate.
lose weight and look anemic. Win. But like the thing is, like everyone was like looking for a cheat code,
Yeah.
and they just don't work.
No.
Like I think, like you said, like you didn't reduce, you didn't like take a break, you got rid of it. No more
Yeah.
soda, never again. Doesn't have to enter my life, and like that's what made the difference. A lifestyle change, not a diet.
Yeah, it was. I don't necessarily think that fad diets can't work. It's the problem with the fad diets is just what you said. It's a fad. Like if you stuck with it and you did it correctly to the T, you probably would see results after a certain amount of time. But like
Yeah,
nobody sticks with it. That's why it's a fad, right? It's like clothes or music.
it's
It's
temporary.
it's there and then it's gone. So that's why I think those don't work. If it was a diet, like there's also proven diets that are out there that work perfectly because they continuously are, people are continuously doing them. But I
Keto.
think yeah, like keto diets are great and keto's been around forever. Um yeah, but I think personally for me, if you were to ask me again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a health instructor, nothing like that. I just know it's worked for me. I think you should find the diet that works for you. Like doing what everyone else does doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. I've tried a lot of different diets in my life. I tried those box diets that you'd get. I've tried fad diets back in the day. Like I tried all this stuff and it doesn't work because it's not correct for me. It wasn't correct for the weight I wanted to lose. It wasn't until I finally figured out that if I do this, I can get these results. And seeing the results in the beginning was the big way to keep going. Like I saw the first 10 pounds drop like that. And when I saw it drop, I'm like, oh, this is going to work. But I've had times in the past where I've done it and I'm like, I weighed exactly the same. And it was like disheartening. So I think if you really want to do something like that, you need to find what works for you, not what works for everyone else, not what worked for Brad Pitt, not what worked for Leo DiCaprio, not what works for The Rock, like what works for you for what you're trying to do. If you really wanted to do a diet, I think a better way is to do these new, like there's AIs and different bots you can get on online. Like you can go to websites. I don't have any off the top of my head, unfortunately, but there's
No
websites
worries.
you can go to that you could type in like, I want to lose 20 pounds and I want to work on my core, and it'll give you different diets and workouts. Like that's what you need. You need something tailored for exactly what you want to do, not just something everybody wants to do, because you don't know what kind of weight you're trying to lose. Are
Yeah.
you trying to gain muscle? You need more protein. Are you trying to lose your stomach? You probably need something that's fat burning. You know what I mean? You need to work on core. Like you don't need to work on this every day. You need to work on that every day. So, and that's another, by the way, I just want to say this really quick. If you're trying to lose weight, don't make sure you get everything. Do your arms, do your legs, do your core, do everything. Because if you don't do that, and I was lucky enough to think about this as I was losing weight, you get the flabs that nobody wants, and then you have to try to
Chris,
figure out how do you
legs
tighten
is
your skin.
optional. Legs
What?
is optional. It's not
Yeah,
necessary.
I
You can
wish
just keep
legs are
leg day,
optional, but
bro.
you need to do legs. You need to get those legs strong. But I had friends that lost weight and then they're like, now I have this flab on my stomach or I
Mm,
have flabs on my arms. It's because they did a lot of running, they did a lot of cardio, but they didn't do an ab circuit, they didn't do an arm circuit, they didn't do a leg circuit. So make sure if you want to actually lose the weight and tighten everything up, don't just do X, make sure you get a little bit of everything. When I was doing my workouts, I used to work out 6 times a day when I was really getting into the
damn.
workouts. Yeah, it was a lot. But there would be a lot of cardio. Cardio is amazing for you, ton of cardio. But in that, there would be an arm circuit, there'd be a leg circuit. I would do one in the afternoon. That was about 30 minutes, just quick stuff, push-ups, sit-ups, squats, air squats, things like that. And then I would do another one at night that was big with weights to do all that. So just a long-winded tip.
Definitely. So basically, make lifestyle change, find the diet that works for you. Like, not really diet, like, not really that short term diet, but like, when a scientist says like a carnivore's diet is meat or something, like an
Yeah.
everyday thing. And yeah, look into which exercise work for you. Me
Yeah.
personally, like you said, like you did, I don't drink pop anymore. If I do, it's
Mm-hmm.
very rare and kicks me hard, the sugar. And I guess I do calisthenics, if I'm really like sticking to the plan.
Yeah.
So you've done all these things, and as I said, you lost 200 pounds. Like it wasn't like a few sizes on the belt. It was a
I went
massive
from a
change.
4X to a large
Yeah, I didn't
in
know
my shirt
4X was a
size.
thing.
Yeah,
I can't
4X is a
comprehend that.
thing. There's more than 4X too. Trust me, I was on the verge of 5, but went from
Jeez.
4XL to a large, and my jersey size is a medium. Jerseys usually run pretty large, which is like the first time I got a jersey and I put on a medium and it fit. I like almost cried. It was amazing. Like to be able to wear a
Jeez.
medium t-shirt in my life, well, jersey, I should say, but to wear something that was a medium in my life, like
Yeah.
is unbelievable.
So yeah, like the point is you lost a ton,
Yeah.
but it didn't happen all at once. And I asked you like already about what was the signs you were just too big. Now I'm going to ask you, what were the signs you were losing weight? Like what
So
changes happened?
yeah, so I said early on, like I was on the scale a lot and I don't do that as much, which is a great feeling. I was a scale watcher like crazy. Um, I think scale watching's super unhealthy, but so is being 430 pounds. So you have to do what you have to do. I was very much a scale watcher. So I started to do these workouts and I would jump on the scale and I'd see I was down 5, 10, 15 pounds. And that's what really got me going, was to see number results. I'm a baseball guy. Baseball's very analytical. I'm a big numbers guy, right? So when I see the numbers change, that's when I'm like, all right, here we go. I used MyFitnessPal as well to count calories. I would measure my waist. I would put my weight in there, all that stuff. Like now they charge you to do all that, but at the time it was free. Um, so I did a lot of that stuff. as well. But seeing the numbers drop were big. Even though and you've said that you've gone up and down and if you lost weight, anyone that's lost weight will probably know that you plateau a lot and then you hit and then you'll go down again. So I lost my first 20 pounds like in an instant. I'm not even kidding. It was maybe 2 weeks because it was all like water weight. It was like stored up from salt and stuff like that. And I sweat it out because I was working out 6 times a day. So like I sweat it all out. And then I hit a kind of a plateau where I didn't lose another pound for like a week and a half. And then then all of a sudden you just hit the next step and then it starts losing again. And then you plateau and then it loses again. And some plateaus can last like a month and some will last like a week or a couple days. And again, going back to the discipline, it's the discipline to just get up and do it again, even though you're not seeing the results anymore. But seeing the results in the beginning is what really kept me going. And then seeing the results overall, after I got through that first plateau, seeing that that's going to happen and researching that that's going to happen, it kept me going. So that's when I really first seeing results. And then the big one, other than, seeing that I no longer had a giant round head and giant round stomach, was when I first started running. I didn't run like at all until probably almost a year into losing weight. Like I ran sprints. I would do like 30-second stop type stuff, but I was so heavy that I couldn't really run that much. And my knees were so bad because I was 430 pounds or whatever. So I didn't really run, but the first time I was able to run a mile, I noticed like I didn't have as much pain. And I was like, oh, like this is like really, this is happening. Like I can do this. Then I ran 2 miles, then 3 miles. Now I wake up and I run 3.5 to 6 miles every day. Like things I never thought I'd be able to do. So that's kind of when I saw it. And the big moment of my weight loss was when I was 299 pounds. I actually like almost shed a tear that day. I have a picture on my phone still of the scale saying 299.1 or something like that, because to see myself under 300 pounds after being over 400 pounds was like an unbelievable moment. That one, and then seeing myself under 220 pounds, I have a picture of that as well, because those are moments I know I didn't think I'd see at some point in my life. And then to be able to see the scale say 217.4 or something like that, like it's something that was like mind-blowingly amazing and definitely like was an emotional time.
100%, man. Like, there's some people, we probably know some, they've kind of been like, let's be nice, fat or pretty fat all their lives. You've never seen them in any other form. Do you feel like they're missing out?
I wouldn't say missing out. So one thing I will say about when I was heavy is I was never sad about it. Like I still enjoyed my life a lot. I still like had the same type of fun. Like, would I have had more fun if I was the weight I am now? Like, probably. I don't regret hitting it later in life either, because one thing that happens when you get later in life is you start to gain weight. But I already did that. I've been there. I'm not going back to that. Like I know for a fact this moment right now, I can tell you can come back in 10 years to this moment right now. I will never be that overweight ever again. You'll see me in 10 years. I'll either be thinner or at the same weight I am right now. Like it's never going to happen because I changed my life I changed my life a little later, where other people, it flips, right? Other people, they are thin their whole life. Your metabolism slows down, you're losing all this and you gain the weight. Like well, it won't happen because I never want to be at that point again. But to go back, really quick, I never was like upset with it. I still went out. I still had a lot of fun. I still had great friends. Yeah, I wish I was a little bit thinner back then, but I never let it bring me down. So I wouldn't want to say like they're missing out, because it's not an easy thing to do. And it's not easy to just be one day like I'm going to do it. I'm going to go lose weight. Like anyone could do that any day. It's the next day and the next day and the next day of being able to do it. So I wouldn't want to say missing out. What I'll say is, hey, listen, if you need that motivation, if you need that help, reach out, and I'll be there every single day to tell you you could do this. But I wouldn't say they're missing out, because you're still alive. You're still on this planet. And you're still living. Like it's like the greatest gift you can get. So even though it's maybe not the weight you want to be at. The best thing about being on this planet is you can change that. You know, you can change that for the better. So, living
Shit,
proof.
man. I wish I was as secure as you are. Ah, man, my obesity or fat time period came with a lot of bullying, depression. Some people think they're teasing you, but they're really like dismantling your self-esteem bit by bit. And
Yeah.
I fear it, man. I fear it. Like, I fear returning to that. Like, if I gain even a little bit of weight these days, I panic and then try to get out of it.
Hmm.
And I don't know about you. We appear to be very different people in terms of this experience. But man, when I look in the mirror, I still see fatty. I still see that little
Well,
fat kid.
I my girlfriend and other people in my life all tell me I have body dysmorphia because I have dropped 200 pounds. I'm down to 225, and I still look at myself and be like, man, I am overweight. And I told all the time, like, no, you're not. Like, yeah, could you lose more weight? We all can, but like, you're not overweight. Like, you're not. And I think of it every single day. And by the way, that doesn't go to say like, going back really quick. Like, I went through the same, especially when I was in school, middle school and stuff like that. The bullying for being overweight. I wouldn't say I was a heavily bullied person, but people made fun of it all the time. Like, it was the first thing people went to. And I guess just being at overweight my entire life. I mean, I was 300 pounds when I was like a sophomore in high school. So
Shit.
like I was always big. You kind of just become a little numb to it. And same thing. Like I felt like when I was in my like 19, 20, 21 era, like that's kind of when I hit like, I could lose weight, and sometimes I was sad about it. And there was a time in my early 20s where I went to an amusement park and couldn't ride a roller coaster because I was too fat. Like,
Jeez.
yeah, that made me upset. But the majority of days, I just thought about like, I'm just glad to still be here. Like that's my big thing is I'm just so glad to be alive and be a human. And you know, you get to be on this planet for a little bit. I don't know. It sounds strange. It sounds almost like like a holistic, like, yeah, living
Yeah, but
nature,
that's the
stuff like
healthy
that. But
mindset, man. Being
it
thankful for life.
it's it's the one thing you have to come back to because man, bad things happen all the time, right? Like recently I've gone through some stuff,
Mm.
with some stuff. With my move, I moved from one place to another, and like things weren't really going right. And the one thing I can always try to set back to is like things can be so much worse. You can not be here anymore. You could be in a worse situation. Like things are going to work out because, they have so far, and we've been able to figure it out, and we're still here. We're still alive. We're still doing well. We're healthy, you know, all that stuff. So that's kind of the mindset I've given myself, because if you don't, it can be a really tough world out there.
100%. But speaking of the world out there, you managed to overcome this. Like you said, you were pretty heavy at some point, and then through your attitude and like discipline, you overcame it. You lost the 200 plus pound, 200 plus, or
I would say 200 plus, because I don't know the exact.
Hmm.
I was somewhere between 425 and 440 ish. I didn't weigh myself before I started. I just kind of started. So I don't know the exact starting weight, but I do know based on times I've weighed myself before losing the weight, I was like 432, 433. And I think I was heavier when I started than at that point. But I, yeah, I didn't do it for, it's funny because I get asked all the time, like, why didn't you post? Why didn't you do this? Like, why didn't you have a before and after? Like, because I didn't do it for clicks. I know it sounds funny because we're on a
you should have
podcast
done it
talking
for
about it
this
right now.
thumbnail.
I apparently, yeah, I'll send you, like I said, I'll
No,
send you a
no,
photo and you can do it
man.
there. But I didn't do it for clicks. I didn't do it for follows. Like with the weight I lost and the journey I had, I probably could have, but like I did it for me. Like I did
Yeah,
it because I was really fat and probably gonna die soon if I kept up the lifestyle I had. So like
yeah, like
I
James
needed to change
Gandolfini,
something.
man, or Chris Farley.
yeah, like I had to change my lifestyle. Like I didn't want to end up, having heart problems, or I was like, I had bad knees to this day because I weighed 400 pounds, 300 pounds for most of my life,
What
so
about the stretch marks?
I
I hate
actually,
mine.
I don't have them that bad. Um, I do have obviously stretch marks, but I don't have them that bad. Like I said earlier, when I was losing, I researched a lot and I found out different ways like you could do to make sure your stretch marks aren't bad, to make sure you don't have a lot of the flabby, like extra skin stuff. Like
The apron.
I that was one thing when I started to lose weight, I really truly didn't want, was the loose skin and stuff like that, because I've seen people that lost a lot of weight and they look like they look like they've lost a lot of weight. And
Flapjack.
then now it's a new journey. It's a new journey of like, all right, I lost the weight, now I have to tighten everything up. So it was the
Yeah.
biggest problem I have is my stretching afterwards. Like, I'm more tight in knees and arms and back than, or sorry, I say legs and arms and back than anything. But I really truly didn't want that. So I researched how to make sure I can stay away from that.
Yeah. But like the point I wanted to get is like, yeah, you lost 200 plus pounds. You went through it, and look at you, pretty like you look like a happy, healthy dude.
I try to be.
Maybe I'm
I
reading
try
too
to be.
much surface level, but in my opinion, you're rare in that you overcame it, but you're not rare in that you're fat, because this is a very common problem these days. People getting fat, like
Mhm.
fat, obese, unhealthy. Like, why? And if you look at previous generations, I call them the PE generation because they had PE all the time. Why is our generation, millennials and onwards, just getting fatter and fatter? Like, is it just bad diet? Is it we're depressed so we comfort eat a lot? Like, what's
I think
going on here?
uh no expert or anything, but I would say it's a little combination of it. I would say that processed sugar is at its highest right now. Like, people talk about how they would eat cakes and they had pop and stuff back in the 50s, but it really, I don't think, was the same or consumed at the same rate as now. I think stores like Walmart are a big reason for this. You can buy a bag of candy for a nickel now. Like it's
Pop
the
tarts.
yeah, Pop Tarts are like what, $1, $2 a box, something like that. It's very accessible to get sugar. It's the cheapest it's ever been. It's the most processed it's ever been. We just talked about, you got a latte and it was just sugar with sugar added. Like it's just so distributed and so easy to get your hands on, that I think that's why you're seeing it so much. And then obviously you have the things like, I mean McDonald's was around since World War II, so it's been around forever. But
19
what's up?
six. McDonald's was like 1950s.
Well, the McDonald's started, I believe, in
The
the
original one.
40s, the original one,
Yeah.
and it started to become a chain.
Mhm.
50s, 60s, 70s, so on, so on, so on. And now
Yeah.
today, I mean, you go on any corner, you see a McDonald's, you see a Burger King, you see a Wendy's. And the
Tim
problem
Hortons.
with
I gotta
those, Tim
represent. You see a Tim
Hortons, yeah, of
Hortons.
course, Tim Hortons. Um, the problem with those is, especially like the real fast foods, obviously we all know they're bad for us, but the problem is they're trying to make it better for us, which I think is actually making it worse. But that's just a theory I have. I don't have any
Mhm.
proof for that one. um but that's more accessible than ever. Even you're talking about the 50s when it started to become a chain. Like, what was there, 25 of their McDonald's? Like, there wasn't that many, and it probably started out as a legitimate burger business where they made real hamburgers, but now it's all processed and shipped in. And processed foods is also a big one. Processed foods is a huge reason you see so much obesity
Mhm.
and everything. Like I said, it's just easy to get. It's easy to get in bulk, and it's easy to make you bulk. So I think it's a little combination of everything. Yeah, you got people that have more depression. There's a lot of really messed up stuff that goes on these days, and I don't. I think there's always messed up stuff going on forever in the history of time. The problem with today, with the messed up stuff going on, is you find out about it when it happens. You find out exactly what's going on. Not only that, you see your neighbor, your teacher, your friend, and your grandmother all arguing about it on some page somewhere, and that makes you upset. And you really get to see people's true colors. Like that's the reason I think more people are depressed and stuff like that. It's not that like we have an uptick in bad things happening. It's that, and we can find out about a shooting in Chicago the minute it happens, where 30 years ago, that's not what happened. Like, you didn't hear about it immediately. You didn't 40 years ago, 50 years ago. I mean, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, you didn't hear about it until the newspaper. People didn't know John Lennon died until the next day. Like, if that were to happen today, you'd hear about it 14 seconds after it happened. So I think that's why you see so much of that stuff these days, is because like there's just so much accessibility to be able to see it, and it gets to you so much faster. So yeah, I think that's part of it. Like, you're trying to eat your feelings, as they say. Yeah, I just think all that. Yeah, everything you said. Just trying to explain everything you already said. So,
I mean, we're here for you. I got to remind you that.
That's true. That's true.
It is the George
like
Habib podcast, but the I'm going to be cheesy and say the guests are our lifeblood.
I feel that.
But no, I get what you're saying. Like the ease of access of like the information, and most importantly, the pretty heavy, the carb heavy, calorie foods.
Mm-hmm.
But like, what I want to talk more about what gets us eating those food, because like I believe like we kind of have like 4 accepted vices in society. Well, in Canada, we now have like 5. Pot is legal everywhere.
Yeah.
So,
Same,
but like technically, there's 4. Here. We got the drinking, we got the smoking, we got the eating, and we've also got the pornography. Like the 4 accepted vices of society these days. You both like engage, like we all engage in this stuff because we feel like crap somehow. It gives us a little hit of pleasure, and then we feel like just like trash right after. And then like, it's a short-term fix, and then we need more and more and more and more. What's depressing us, like to stick with the topic of this video, what's depressing us to the point that we engage in comfort eating? Like our people our age, millennials, Gen Zs.
I think, like I said, like it's a little bit of all that stuff, but also I think it's, when I say the accessibility, I mean, we're all broke. We're all broke. So like getting those foods that are cheaper, that have all that stuff in it, I mean, that's kind of, and then, honestly, that can also make you really depressed, having no money and everything's so expensive, and figuring out, how do I pay rent next month? How do I pay my insurance? How do I pay my student loans? How do I pay my electric bill, my internet bill? How do I pay for my car? Like, that all together can equal a couple $1,000s, while we're out here making $1,000 a paycheck, like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a paycheck. Like if you make $50,000, you're making like $3,500 after taxes. Also, taxing's like 35%.
I'm going to stop you right there, Chris. You cannot complain about taxes. I live in fucking Canada.
That's true. That's true.
You cannot complain about taxes. I know they're higher than they were before.
We can both complain. It's completely okay to both complain. Yeah, one might have it better than the other, but guess what? Let me let you on a secret. No one has it good.
No, I'm talking about specifically taxes, okay?
Okay.
Taxes.
I won't complain about taxes.
Taxes, bro. Like, our roads are shit. Our hospitals are shit. Our education ain't great. I don't know where all this tax money is going from, but it's going somewhere, and it's being taken from my pocket. So,
that's how I feel.
Taxes,
specifically
about
the income tax is the one that I was talking about. Like, dude, I made that. You didn't work a second. Get out of my pockets. Anyway,
this is a different topic, but like I got a little quote
I'll go back to the other one. I'll go back to that. But all that stuff can be.
I got a little quote I made up about that. When tyranny becomes law, tax fraud becomes duty.
And here we are.
Guilt, whatever Canada's IRS is called.
And here we are. So I think all that can be a part of it. Like, there's just a lot of things. I mean, when we were looking into housing, we rent, because why would you buy a house in this environment right now? But
smooth catch.
Thank you. When we were looking into housing, like, it's like 8.5%, 9%. Like, housing 10 years ago, you paid 3%, you paid 2%. Like, that's insane. I had someone I know. What's up?
And the price was low.
The price was lower. Yeah. Cause you weren't paying so much. You weren't paying such a high a percent on it. Like, I know somebody that bought a house that we knew the house. It was by my hometown. We knew the house. That house has gone up for sale before, and they bought it for like $350,000 more dollars, which was considered cheap at the
Jeez.
time because it was like they paid like $550,000 for this house because it's just housing so expensive. I don't
And
want
that's
to go
like
off topic again,
US
but the
dollars, not
inflation
like the
thing.
freaking monopoly money we have here in Canada. Jesus.
It's everyone says, I'm sure it's in Canada, it's in the United States, it's everywhere right now. Like it's inflation.
True that.
Well, here's something. Inflation doesn't happen in 2 years. Inflation doesn't happen in a year. It doesn't happen in 3 years. Inflation's supposed to happen over time. So seeing housing go up from 3% to 9% in like a 4-year span is not inflation. Just
Yeah.
just saying that.
No, no, definitely. We are in big agreement there.
Yeah, I'm sure
Like
we
again,
are.
it is a bit off topic, and I definitely want to have a conversation with you about this, maybe in
But
another
it's
episode.
it's really not. It's really not off topic because we're talking about like what makes you want to overeat,
No,
what
no,
makes you
but
get to
that's what
those
I want to get
points.
to. Like
Yeah.
some people will say it's off topic. Like, why are we talking about inflation, George? Just talk about being fat. It's like, bro, when you are our age and you're dealing with all this crap, your parents, okay, they had to deal with their own crap, like I guess
Yeah.
polio or something.
Wars,
But yeah, and
getting
tapeworm
drafted.
enemas or whatever. But when you're our age and you can't afford a house, you're struggling with bills, you can't like you can't go out and have nice things, you can't travel the world, you can't go bungee jumping, rock climbing, you can't just like have the best years of your life at a young age. You need a hit of dopamine. And like I said, if you're not drinking, if you're not smoking, if you're well, pornography, I'm pretty sure that's overlapping with a bunch of stuff. But like if you're not doing these things to get that dopamine hit, you're gonna be eating McDonald's to feel a little bit
Yeah.
better. You're gonna be ordering those greasy takeouts from like Asian countries. You're gonna be getting like that great big pizza full of whatever like artificial shit is inflating the dough. You're gonna be getting those like high fructose corn syrup lollipops or whatever. And you crave it because you want to feel something good. Your brain needs like something good for once. You eat it, you feel great during, even though you don't remember the taste like a second after.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, you just feel like shit. You're there
You feel
bloated, you're there
worse.
tired, your stomach hurts, your 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 mouth tastes like ass, and or chemicals, whatever they put in that food, and you're like, what the fuck did I do with myself? And it's a
Yeah.
vicious cycle because you feel worse and then you eat more and you feel worse and then you eat more, you feel worse and you eat more. And you're not rich, like that's the point. You're not rich. You can't afford to go to a nice restaurant, have some freaking caviar or some good
Forget being
sushi, the
rich.
good stuff.
You're not middle
McDonald's.
class. You're not middle class. Like you don't have the
Yeah.
average amount, like or not the average amount, but you don't have like the median what you should have. You don't
Yeah.
have that even. It's not even
You
about
just
being
want quick
rich.
dopamine hits.
Yeah. Yeah, and
And it's not like
it's the same as
alcohol,
drugs.
smoking, or junk food or pornography. A lot of these things overlap. You can be an alcoholic smoker eating junk and jerking off every day to
Yeah.
like another dude sleeping with another girl, and you're not like that's not even you being involved. You're just watching
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And that's like a big reason I when people fall on hard times, I don't want to be rude to them because like it's fast food. It's just like drugs. Like you take the drug, you don't feel good after. I'm not a hard drug person, but they say you don't feel good after, but that feeling you had while you were doing it is the reason you come back to it over and over and over again. You eat McDonald's, you feel great when you eat the McDonald's, you feel awful afterwards. You feel bloated, you feel
Like
puffy,
shit.
you feel your stomach hurts because your body shouldn't be processing this food. But then something happens and you're like, I just want that good feeling again. Like the
Yeah.
good feeling of eating the nuggets. Like that's what I want. And so
And
you
you
go
build
back to
excuses
it.
for yourself, like just tonight. Tomorrow
Yeah, just
I'll
tonight. Tomorrow,
cleanse or whatever.
I'll
Tomorrow
do
I'll
whatever I
get
have
a
to do tomorrow.
diuretic or something.
Yeah.
Like it's the same thing with the chocolate. Like with that, my problem. I got two problems now. To be a bit candid, sugar and pornography. I'm working on both. I'm gonna be honest. This is what this show's
Yeah,
about.
that's fine.
And when it comes to the sugar, I'll have the whole day where I'm so proud of myself that I haven't touched a lick of sugar, and then I'll go
Yeah.
out for a walk, and then I end up at like you said, like a 7-Eleven. Here we're calling couche-tards. It's French,
Hmm.
and then like I'll just like have candy bars, and before I know
You'll
it, like I'll like
indulge.
4 wrappers in my pocket because I don't litter. George Habib doesn't litter. I'll have like 4
Love it.
wrappers in my pocket, like Kit Kats, Galaxy, or even like that weird thing called Big Turk. I don't know if you guys got that.
Don't know what that is now.
It's
Sounds
some
good.
weird thing. I like it. And then I'll feel like shit.
Yeah. Yeah, because the sugar hits you and your stomach's trying to process it. And that the feeling I hate the most, and it's a big reason I love the way that I eat now. I hate the puffiness feeling. Like I don't really eat pizza because pizza makes my face feel so because of all the salt. It's really not even the sugar, it's the salt that does
Water
that.
retention.
Yeah. And I just hate that feeling.
Do you,
So I try not
do
to
you know
eat
that
that
feeling
stuff.
when you're like lying down and you're just a little bit bent and you can feel your stomach folds chilling on each other?
Yeah. Yeah, I knew that feeling. I didn't have to be laying down and bent. If I sat down in a chair at some points, I felt that. Like that's kind of where I was at one point. So like I don't those are the feelings like it's the same reason I stopped drinking as much. I when I was in college and even after college, I'd go out, I'd drink, I'd have all those fun times. And I kind of stopped drinking because a lot of my friends when I lived in Boston moved away. So I didn't really have anyone to do that with. And then
Yeah.
when I had the opportunities again, I was just like, I don't know if I really want to do this. Like it's fun the day of, but the next day, same thing. You're hungover, you feel bloated, like you feel puffy, you don't want
You
to
got to
do
keep drinking.
anything. Yeah, you got to keep going, or you just lose a day to come back. And like I just the first part didn't make the second part feel any better. So I was just like, I'm good. And then I just like to this day I don't really drink. I very 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 rarely have a drink.
Socially.
Uh, most of the time, not even that. Like, if I go out and people are drinking, I'll get a water. I'll get I'll get like a little seltzer or something like that. Like, that's something easy for me to drink. I just don't
Yeah.
enjoy the thing, and it's expensive. You go out to drink, you can end up spending $200. And then if you get really, really drink and you're very nice like I am, you start paying for your friends' drinks.
Oh my
You
God.
go to this table, you pay for that, and then it gets even worse. So like
Don't get drunk at a strip club. You'll be broke.
yeah, trust me, I have not done that. So
Oh,
I'm
I was
lucky.
projecting.
I I know people. I've had friends in the past that they would go and they would come back like broke. They spend
Broke.
a ton of money. They'd throw a ton of money. They'd buy everyone drinks because they'd just be blackout drunk. And like
And people know. People
that's
know a mark when they see one.
yeah, I'm sure. I mean, that's how they make their money, right? Like that's literally how they do it. So they need to
Yeah,
find that
even your
person.
friends, man. Like your friends will literally see you as like a piggy bank at the bar.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
know
and
what to
that's
expect.
That's like when I was bigger, it took me a ton of drinks to get drunk because I was,
Bigger.
430
Yeah.
pounds, something like that. It doesn't, you don't get drunk right away. So if I got drunk, you knew it was an expensive day. But yeah, I
Shit.
stopped drinking and I enjoy it. I actually really enjoy not drinking. Way more than I enjoyed drinking. I enjoyed the times with friends more than I enjoyed consuming the drinks. But back when you were 20, 21, 22, 23, in college, after college, you just kind of think that's how you need to have those times. And honestly, if you're secure with yourself, you can still have those times with them if they want to drink and just kind of I have a personality that people usually think I'm on something anyway because I'm very like I could be very outgoing. I can also be very shy, but I could be very outgoing, especially in a social setting. So I don't really need more than I already have. But you can have those times still. If they're your friends, they'll understand.
Real friends, though,
Yeah, the real friends. The real friends
for
will know.
sure. So
It's tough.
basically, it just
It's
comes
tough.
down to poor impulse control, and like you want to get that hit. You want to get high on life, but you're confusing booze and food and drugs with
Yeah,
life and pornography with life when it's not. So, but like to me, that's not a unique thing. 70s and onwards, like in the 1970s and onwards, people have been eating like we focus on two things: the garbage food and the feeling, like the depressed feeling that makes you like try to get a quick hit of
yeah,
whatever it is. Here, focusing on comfort food. But like, yeah, 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, it was, to me, I feel like it was just those two things. Food was pretty bad, health wise, and you wanted a quick hit of happiness.
Yeah.
But now I feel like there's a new element of this, which I want to discuss with you. 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, people made fun of the fat kid. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like in the movies and the shows and documentaries, like if you were fat, people made fun of you. The new element I'm talking about here is the fat acceptance movement, or you call it body positivity, or all that stuff, where now it's like, not only are you engaging in a terrible habit that's fucking up your mental health and your physical health, you know, your arteries are clogging up, your heart is crying, but now people are saying it's okay, keep doing it.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, it may be a controversial take, but you have the same take I would have had of like, I'm off. If you want to have body positivity, I have no problem with that. Like, but like you said, like if it's messing you up mentally, like then if people are doing it to you, you need to say like, hey, listen, like this isn't helping me. If it helps you, then that's great. If you don't mind it, then you know what, more power to you. Like I'm very much like, if you're happy, if you're cool with it, it's not my life to really be pushing it, you know, like that's why again I didn't do anything on social like that. Like I don't need to push my life onto you. But if you're somebody that has a lot of that body positivity and you're overweight and everyone's like accepting of it and stuff like that and saying it's great, keep doing it, and you're not happy with it, then it kind of still comes down to you. I mean, it's not the nicest thing to say, but like whether people are accepting it or not, it's not about them. Like that's kind of like a mindset that a lot of people have today. It's about the person. Like it's like, what does this person think? What does that person think? But it's really about you. Like, do you like how you look? Do you like how you feel? Do you want to change something? Body positivity is great. If people want to do it, let them do it. Like, but are you positive on your own body? I mean, maybe that's not really the way people think, but at the end of the day, I'm very much a person. And as you mentioned, I do a lot of podcasting. I do a lot of things like this. I've been doing it for a long time. Like
Links down
I,
below.
yeah, links down below. Yeah. Mad Props Travel Studios. It's tagged right down there. If yeah, right over there somewhere. Um, I
It's
never
somewhere.
I never really cared what people thought about me. When I was in high school, when I was in middle school, it was big time. And then I went to Florida for my first year and it kind of changed. Like I didn't really care what people thought about me. I didn't care if I got rejected by a girl. And actually, for anyone that's like, you know, having struggles with that, like not caring about if you get rejected helps more than caring about it.
100%.
Um, like I kind of gained a lot of confidence and I just didn't, people could think what they wanted. It's really about what you think of yourself. And I don't think that's not a common mindset. But to go off what you're saying with body positivity, like you can feel how you want to feel about it. But I think that the real answer is like, it doesn't matter how other people think about what you look like. It really matters about what you think. If you're fine with how you look, then like, who cares? Keep doing what you're doing. Keep living how you're living. If you're happy, you're happy. Again, going back, like we're all alive. We're all human. We're all on this planet and we get to like share this experience for only a certain amount of time. So be happy while you do it. But if you're not happy, if you hate how you look, like again, who cares if they're positive about it? You need to be positive on yourself. So that's kind of how I feel with that. Like I get the movement. It's great. You want to be supportive of people, right on. But it really doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It matters what you think about yourself and if you want that for yourself.
100%. I feel like you're talking about more from a supportive point of view where, you know, like you kind of want to support people on their weight loss journey because that's what will make them feel better. But like for me, like I want to talk about body positive movement because I feel like even though it initially started, because bro, there was a period of time in the early 2000s where models were just too fucking thin and dying.
Yeah.
Like you remember those? We don't see that and really anymore. Like except from that one influencer, which creeps me out. I'm not going to say her name. I don't want to bring attention. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't, but I'm
It's just
sure. I
it
mean,
is super
I
scary.
had I had to be on TikTok a lot with my job, especially
Mhm.
early on this year. So I'm sure I've come across that profile at some point.
Yeah, but like I just feel like we went from like people were being scarishly skinny.
Hmm.
Like people were being encouraged to be super skinny. They were literally dying. A lot of models actually died from like eating disorders.
Yep.
So we had that at the same time. We were really bullying overweight people, like calling them like fatty, piggy, milk tit, stuff like that. No, but like it's true.
I
Like
well, no,
you
it's
cannot be fat and avoid
two.
the milk jokes.
I was gonna say you said two that are very common, then you said one that's I was like, all right, so he's speaking from like the heart now. Like
Well, from the
you're
chest,
speaking from
but yeah, you get what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But like, well, they told it to me in like Arabic, but like, you get my point.
Yeah, I get what you're
So like,
saying.
at the same time, we were encouraging like super skinny people who we said, "Oh, they're so beautiful. Look at them, they're dying." To like, and at the same time, we were like just telling like these overweight people, like, "You're so fat, and that's all you'll ever be." Like, ha ha.
Yeah.
Basically, two unhealthy extremes. We somehow managed to skip the part where we wanted people to maintain a healthy weight, whether they were anorexic or over or like obese, to the part where we're like being fat's okay, being fat's healthy, and you don't have to change at all. And I truly feel there's a bunch of people who they're a few steps away from like taking the change you did to make themselves healthier and like ultimately happier, I hope. But then when they look at social media and stuff, and like, some singers like Lizzo, like some social media and like some catalogs, they're like, I don't need to change. I'm eating a lot. I feel like crap. Like it's unavoidable. I feel like crap being this weight, but it's okay. It's enabled.
Yeah. I mean, it's I again, I agree. And anybody that tells you that being super overweight is healthy is just completely lying to you. So like that's the first thing. Like it's one thing, like I say, like, don't worry about what people think. Like if you're happy, you're happy. That's fine. But if you're saying like, well, I'll stay this weight because they tell me it's healthy anyway, well, they're literally lying to you. I mean, Elvis Presley died because he was overweight. Like Chris Farley had many other
He
problems,
died
but these guys
constipated
died.
in the toilet
Yeah, yeah,
because he was
yeah.
overweight.
It's constipation of the heart. Like saying people that are overweight are super healthy is just not just it's not true. It's a lie.
Bro, we got a
But
ton of names, man. We got Chris Farley. Well, Chris Farley was technically an overdose, but his body couldn't
that's what
take
I
it.
yeah. But
He was
his
overweight.
he yeah he was super overweight. That's why I was like he had many other things going on.
James
But
Gandolfini, he had like a massive buffet. Apparent, like I need to reread this, but like I remember reading he had like a massive like feast before he died of a heart attack. John Panette, John Panette, the comedian,
mhm.
super hilarious. His shtick was just him eating a lot. Died. What's his name? The other guy, the other comedian.
There's
He
been
was massive mid 2000. Well, he was massive, but he was
Ralphie
big,
May.
popular. Ralphie Mays, yeah.
Yeah,
Like all these people, like we love them, they're
it's all heart
hilarious, they're
attacks.
full of life, and then they just drop dead at 40.
Yeah. And people like to say people don't even blame it on the weight. It's like, well, they did this, they did that. It's like, well, they were also 400 pounds. I mean, uh, Big Pun didn't pass away because he was taking drugs. He passed away because he was 600
Big.
pounds. Like he's
Mhm.
great, one of the greatest lyricists in New York, New York hip hop history, maybe even all time. But he didn't pass away because he was doing drugs or drinking. He died because he was like 650 pounds. Like it's just not true. But again, like if you go past that and like I'm unhealthy but I'm happy, like I said, I'm not gonna judge anybody for that because like I
Mhm.
said to you earlier on, I was big, I was still happy. Like yeah, I had my moments where I wasn't. Definitely there were times where I was very upset and it had to do with weight and stuff like that. Like I'm not gonna lie and say I never felt unhappy, but overall I was very happy with the whole experience. And then when I lost all the weight, I didn't realize how much happier I could be. Like
Yeah.
I love being able to go play basketball every single day, keep up with people, like see how my speed has changed, see how my athleticism has changed. I can run up and down a court playing basketball for 4 straight hours and never need a break because I just got my body to a point where I can do that. Like so I never realized how much happier I could be, but it doesn't mean I wasn't happy then either. But if you're not happy and you want to make a change, then again, like, don't listen to it's good, it's healthy. You keep doing you, like, but that's not you doing you. You doing you is changing your life because you don't want that life.
Yeah. I guess at some point you gotta like truly be selfish. And by selfish, I mean like you gotta be so selfish, you want the best life for yourself.
Yeah.
Like damn what anyone else says. Not like there's a difference I feel between like being selfish and because you want the best for yourself, and then just being lazy and not striving to be a good kind of selfish.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens to a lot of people, right? They want to lose the weight. They want to get to a point where they can change their life, but it's like, oh, it's such hard work. Like, I'm just going to stop in a week anyway. And that's again, this is going full circle on this. That comes down to the discipline, like getting up and actually doing it the next day, doing it the next week, doing it the next month, doing it for a year, doing it for 2 years. Like I said, it was like June 11th, 2020. I have not missed a day of working out other than when I did get COVID, which is actually very recently, believe it or not.
Yikes.
I never missed a day. I always worked out. I would wake up and just be like, I can't do this today, and figure out something to do. Whether it was just I would walk. Like maybe I'd walk 5 miles in a day, like something to do to help with the balance. It just never, once you do it, you're just going to keep doing it. It's the start. It's the start. I love the show BoJack Horseman. It's been a couple years, it stopped. I don't know if you've seen it. Amazing show on Netflix. There is a scene where BoJack's trying to change his life. I don't remember if he actually does it or not, but he's trying to run. And there's a character at the very end of like season 2 or 3. And the character goes, it's not about starting. It's about doing it again every day. That's the hard
The
part.
monkey character.
Yeah. He's the guy he's like running on the side, and he's like, it's about doing it every day. That's the hard part. Starting is easy. It's doing it tomorrow that's hard. It's doing it the next day that's hard.
People
That's
start
when it
diets
gets
all the
difficult.
time and fail them.
Yeah. And workouts too. You know, people go to a workout class and be like, I'm going to do this 3 times a week. And then the next week comes, it's like,
the
yeah,
New
but
Year's
it's at 6
resolution.
a.m. Yeah, they're a perfect example. New Year's resolutions. Everyone wants to work out starting the next year. They want to have a new year. But guess what? New year doesn't always have to start on the 1st. Your new year could be today. It could be tomorrow. Like you could change your life today for next year. And this point next year, maybe it'll be different. So
100%. Discipline over motivation.
both. Discipline over motivation, but you need to be motivated to get up and then discipline to do it again. Have both.
100%.
Play both cards.
Chris, it's been an awesome pleasure to keep talking with you, but we're going to have to come to the conclusion of this video. So I want to ask you, Chris, to the person who was where you were like years ago, you know, they're overweight, they're comfort eating, they don't feel great, they lack motivation, and you got one side telling them, "Hey, fatty," and you got the other side telling them, "Slay, fatty." Like, what you and you can see my cat in the background.
Yeah, of course. Hey, hello.
So, yeah, that's
My dogs are laying on the floor, so it's an animal friendly podcast. I love it.
Yeah, 100%. I love them, but like, yeah, back like people like just sugar addiction, grease, all that stuff, comfort eating. Their knees hurt, their stomach hurts, their head hurts.
Back
They don't want to get out of
hurts.
bed. They sweat all the time. What what do you have what do you have to say to these people who I hope they're watching this because subscribers. What do you have to say to these people based on what you went through to make them feel better? Like not like momentarily, like to make their life better.
Well, again, it goes back, you don't have to listen to anybody but yourself. But if you need help hearing that, hear this. It's really up to you what you want to do. Like if you wanted to reach out to me, you got Schnabel Studios right there. I'll see it. I'll help you through whatever you want. Yeah, somewhere down there. I'll help you through whatever you want. I can get you motivated. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the discipline of if you want to do it. And what I'll tell you right now is the discipline is worth it, because you are going to get those results. And if you're looking for immediate results, then you're looking in the wrong place. It's all about long-term results. It's all about losing the weight. It's about seeing the results. It's about feeling better. You're going to feel better every single day if you start it. So, if you're happy with yourself now, you could be even happier with yourself then, and take it from someone that did it. I mean, again, I was happy. I was pretty happy. I was a happy person, but I'm going to play basketball tomorrow. I'm going to play the next day too. I'm going to go for a run. I walk my dogs. I work out. I can do different things that I was never able to do. And it could be anybody. Everybody, you talk about how people are very overweight. So like everyone's overweight. Are you going to be one of those people that overcome that and make your life better? Is really what it is. And it all starts with your own mentality and your own thoughts and your own discipline. And anyone can do it. It just sometimes takes time. And just because you can't do it, say you listen to this and you try it and you can't do it today, nothing says you can't do it tomorrow. Nothing says you can't do it in a month. Nothing says you can't do it in a year. Just don't give up on it because you didn't do it once. I've been trying to lose weight since I was like 15. It took me until I was 27. So like it'll hit you eventually, and you'll be able to do it, and you'll get through it. And if you need help, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to friends. You can reach out to a lot of people. People will always be there to help you. Just go with your gut first.
That's fucking beautiful, man.
Thank you.
Like
it was scripted.
Cheese,
I'm just kidding.
All the cheese included. I fucking love that.
I don't ever. I've been a baseball coach. I know when you have to be nice and you have to be mean, and there's an in between part. And the in between part is, if you're overweight, you need to cut the weight at some point. Why not now? And it'll make you happier. Like that's the hard part, is if you're already happy, you're like, I'm already happy. What do I care? You can be happier. Trust me. And it's gonna take some hard work. And during that hard work, it's not gonna be happy. But when you get to the end, you're gonna really love it. You're gonna enjoy it, and you're gonna love seeing yourself. Like I love seeing myself in the mirror. I have a little bit of a beard right now, but I don't have a double chin. Like I love that. Like triple chin, it's gone. Like I
don't have mine anymore.
Yeah, it feels nice. It feels nice to see like an actual jawline and not a big circular head with things hanging off of it. Like it's.
So guys, you heard it from the man himself, Chris. Hope you guys take motivation from his message. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. And Chris, where can people follow you?
Great question. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Schnabel Studios. I have my own podcast called Mad Props down below. I have my own podcast called Mad Props. We have people come on. We recently had Alan Hahn of ESPN and MSG come on. But we've had a lot of really cool people. We've had Disney creators. We've had social justice leaders. Jim Obergefell was a guest on there. He was, you may have heard of him, Obergefell versus Hodges, which legalized gay marriage. He came on and talked about that, which was a really exciting episode. People like that all over the place. If you like how I talk here, that's how I talk there too. But I don't talk as much. So you can find us there. You can find me personally on Instagram at Chris Schnabel. The last name is in that Schnabel Studios part. But you can also follow Schnabel Studios on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff. There's more posting there than on my own. But you can follow all that. You can see all my podcasts too, Sketching Up, Mad Props, all that fun stuff. I've done this once or twice. Do it every episode. Every episode that I have to promote my own stuff.
Bro, people are at this moment. People are watching here for you.
They're here for the stories. They're here for me. They're here for your intelligence and your back and forth as well. It's been a great time. I really appreciate being on here. Now? What's up?
Why are you gaslighting me right now?
I am not gaslighting. Hey, for people that don't know, before we end this podcast, for people that don't know, we spent like 25 minutes before this just talking, and then we're like, we should probably hit record. So, and a good host does that. A good host gets captivated early, and then you're like, oh man, I got to hit record because we're already going in.
100%, man. And bro, you're a great guest to have on, and I hope to actually have you in more recordings on other topics.
Whenever you want me, you just reach out to me. I finally got you in actual contact, not just an email. So just reach out to me. And anybody that needs me, reach out to Schnabel Studios. Motivation, just want to talk. I'm always there.
For sure. So yeah, Chris, thanks for being on. Thanks for the story, the discussion, and yeah, thanks for everything.
Thank you.
Guys, once again, Follow Chris on his social media. Follow him on Instagram. Follow his YouTube channel. And yeah, there you go. There's the merch right there. Schnabel. And
Schnabel
yeah,
Studios.
guys, follow us, like this video if you haven't already, subscribe to this
Do it.
channel, comment down below what you thought about this video, whether you agree or disagree, or just want to ramble. And see you all next time. Take
Yeah.
care, everybody.